Hey, good afternoon, good morning, Carolyn, Konstantinos, Nadjam. Welcome, guys, and Carolyn, and looking forward to this session. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Nadjam, hope you had a good weekend. Got a few interesting things to look at this morning, even though we're just getting ready for the week. Just going to give folks 30 seconds or so to sign on in, then we'll get stuck in.
Bostic just talking about how inflation concerns would make him hesitant for now to declare support for cutting rates again in October.
All right, let's get stuck into the session. So this week, it's got
I would say he's concerned about inflation that has been too high a long time.
It's a quiet start to the week. There's not much on the calendar today. However, if you look at the end of the week, we've got the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, the PCE print. Now, what I want to highlight with this is look at the core that's expected. 2.9%, low of 2.5, high of 3. Look at the Fed's projection for core PCE for this year, 3.1. So straight away, the most influential data point this week is probably going to be this PCE print. And look what the Fed communicated, that they don't see the inflation target hitting 2%. Remember,
as Bostic said, the current moment is one of the most...
2% is their target. It's going to turn Bostic off for a minute, right? We've got a few Fed speakers here today, but they've said 2% is their target, right? But they're already going to sort of cut interest rates. So what that means is if this PCE starts surprising markets and coming in below expectations, then look for dollar weakness. Euro dollar upside, gold upside, silver upside. All the majors should be lifted by a weak dollar. And in particular, look at this Trueflation index. Look, it's now at 2.15%. There's another dip that's showing up in the Trueflation, and this is meant to be up-to-date data based on millions of live prices, whereas this sort of data that you get here is based on historical data. So in theory, if the blurb is right, which the company claim, this is a better reflection of inflation as it truly is. That should mean that inflation should be heading lower rather than higher. So core PCE expecting to come in at 2.9, which is still underneath what the Fed were projecting. Broad dollar weakness seems reasonable. So that means very happy to keep my euro dollar longs in play. Okay, bought in from sort of pretty much perfect just down there and looking for a swing move. We've looked at the yield spread for German bunds against US treasuries, and it's moving higher. So we're expecting price to move higher. Now, there's a few things against this. Technically, that is a rejection candle on the weekly chart, but we've held above this area and we're still pushing out, and the on-balance volume is higher. So I'm happy to hold, even though that sort of conflicting hammer reversal. It's not quite a decent hammer reversal. Do you see how the body hasn't closed within the body of the previous candle? So that's why I'm happy to hold this euro dollar long, okay, based on that analysis. Seasonally, euro dollar tends to be weaker at this time of year, but the yield spread pushing up, right, I'm happy to hold euro dollar longs into Friday at this point. Please note today we have a whole flurry of Fed speakers, right? We've got who's speaking at the moment? I think is it Williams speaking at the moment? Bostic speaking at the moment. And then we've got, let's just get the order correct. Hill from the Bank of England was 1:30. Got Williams speaking at 2:45. Muslim at 3. Barking Hammock Mirren at 5. So light on the data, heavy on Fed speak. We know the expectations. We know what's being priced. Current expectations are the following: that the Fed is going to cut in October, 94%, and current expectations are for December that there will be another interest rate cut, so we're down to 3.6. So that's the expectation. So broadly speaking, euro dollar upside still makes sense. Dollar weakness still makes sense in the medium term. Now, in terms of other trades that I've got on, there's another trade that I really like today, which is United Health Group. Nice double bottom. It's a bit of a dot dip, but you can see that bottom region to here, there is. Now, normally you don't want that being more than 5%. It's kind of just around 5%, so that's fine. Breakout above there, looking for a 70% measured target. So I'm happy to enter at market at the open, looking for a move up to 420. Okay, that's on United Health Group. Not only is it quite a nice defensive stock, you can see it's a double bottom, 5% gap between the two bottoms areas. We've broken out of the swing point here, signaling a double bottom is in place with a break here on balance volume pushing higher. If you look at the seasonals, they're great. Let me just find it. Yeah. We're into the end of September, beginning of October, 90% winning trade percentage over 10 years, 80% over 15 years. So very strong seasonal pattern, average return 7.44%. So I'm happy to buy into United Health Group as we move down into this region here. Very happy. So that's another trade that I've taken today. Also, I'm happy to sell the dollar yen from a move up to 149. Nearly got there, but not quite. We're having a rejection of that level. That is a hammer reversal. I'm looking for a push back into this region. I'm happy to sell from 149. Just based on the fact that I think it's less likely now that the Japanese yen is going to weaken. There's more opportunity for Japanese yen strength after two Bank of Japan members took a more hawkish tilt in the last interest rate decision. So I just got a little bit more confidence of that, and I'm expecting US 10-year yields medium term to keep drifting lower, right? So I'm looking for dollar yen selling, and I've also got the euro dollar longs, and I've got my Oracle position still in as well. Let's just show you that. And I'm still with Oracle. Where are we? Here we are. Still looking. Got this entry here at around 300. Stops just the other side of this structure. You get this sort of breakout pattern. And we also had some news from Oracle on Friday. Bloomberg reported that Oracle is in talks with Meta on a $20 billion AI cloud computing deal. So there's a lot of good news for Oracle, and Oracle is also in the running for benefiting from a US ownership takeover of TikTok. And you can see here that you've got this trend line break and on balance volume pushing higher. Okay, so happy to maintain Oracle longs. It's been slower than I would have liked. It's based on this kind of flag pattern. Right, if you look at the flag, pullback, break, looking for a run potentially up to that 400 region. We'll see whether we get there. I at least want to break in something so I can start locking in some profit underneath swing points, ideally. Now, looking around markets, we're just sort of getting going for the week. There's not a whole lot going on in terms of sentiment. If you look at stocks, you see we're pulling back, a bit of dip buying found in Europe, volatility elevated from recent levels, but nothing particularly to note. 10-year yields, bonds finding a bid, which kind of makes sense in terms of that broad fact that the Fed is cutting interest rates. Silver really benefiting recently. Some great gains in both silver and gold. Obviously, there's some medium-term inflation fears. WTI, Brent crude, both lower post-OPEC meeting over the weekend. Dixie is lower. That's giving the euro dollar a lift. And technically, you can just see the Dixie. Look, we'll just back up into this resistance area. That was the obvious area for dollar sellers to come in. So whether that maintains, we'll see. But we can see majors in an obvious swing point here. Break above this on the daily chart, and we could have a bullish engulfing bar if we get above 1.1798. Ideally, if we go about 1.1800, then we've got a potential move up to test 900, maybe even up to 2000s here in the euro dollar pair. Obviously, PCE on Friday will be really important. So that's the big drivers for the dollar. CAD, weakest currency of the session. Euro, the strongest currency of the session, just benefiting from that broad dollar weakness. Now, in terms of the ES, we're going to be looking at this major support level we've fallen into. Developed value area from last week, falling into a developing value area from this week on the weekly chart. We found some support down here at the 6,700, big round number, point of control, also finding some support. So in a decent support area. You can see here prices move down and we're just consolidating sideways, but price is trying to open as it stands underneath Friday's developed value area. So we're stuck between two areas, buying here, potential selling at this region. So I'm happy to buy in from any retracements back down to that 6,695. Broadly speaking, I would look for structured longs in that, try and build in a position. Otherwise, what you're looking for is these buyers getting trapped for maybe a shorter term opportunity, maybe down to the 6698. Looking at the 15-minute, you can see buyers here, they're trying to trap sellers, but we're only going up into this developed value area, and we've got the VWAP up ahead of prices. So an obvious area for potential sellers to rejoin. We'll be keeping an eye on that on the 15-minute and the 5-minute chart, and that's what I'm looking for. So either moving down from 6706 down to 6694 as a potential trade. Also looking at any moves down to 6694 as a move up, maybe to the 6705, 6720 region. Standard deviation sat at 6733. So you can see here, and down below the 6584, they're the key areas. So big areas to look at, 6700, big round number, support, point of control. If we can start pushing above these sellers here, key areas looking at these sellers here, but just note this value area for now. What we're looking at here, we've got buyers trapping sellers against the VWAP. So pull back to the VWAP.
Just with regards to Williams' speech,
from
what we understand, there won't be a text for that. It is a Q&A event.
Delta is positive. That's nice. This is what I want to see. Some sellers coming in here. Now let's see, do these sellers get trapped? If they do, then I'm happy to buy into that. Try and scale in slowly. Right, let's see if I want to see if I get any these sellers trapped. If I do, I'm going to scale in. Just going to use micros. Going to try and build in slowly. But quite a lot of sellers. They're quite heavy sellers, so I'm pleased about that. Right, if these buyers trap these sellers, I'll be buying in. Right, I'm going to buy into that there because it got quite heavy selling. And now let's have a look what we get. See the way the heavy selling comes in, that makes it a bit more reliable. You see, you got heavy sellers, and now those heavy sellers got trapped here, here. Great. Point of control's moved up. It's capping prices for now. Now move lower. Right, here's a crucial little move. Trying to push above this. Let's see how the delta's doing. Delta's still positive. Right, if we get those sellers trapped, we can go for it again. It's a pain. It just sort of flipped, didn't it, Najam? I'm scaling in small, so it's less important for me. Delta's still positive. Point of control holding for now, although it has been fluctuating. Now sellers coming back in again. Now back against the VWAP, very important area. Sellers coming in. Where do we go from here, eh? Now sellers trying to take that battle and beating buyers for now. 5-minute close. Buyers still there. Here comes the test. Delta now negative, so it's turning into that value area. So we're now into a crucial area. This is the battle. VWAP has been broken for now. Now price is flapping around. Sellers coming in. This will be where they need to get trapped, if they're going to get trapped. A lot of sellers coming in here. Delta's negative. Now buyers trying to push above the VWAP. Some sellers bailing out now. Delta still negative, just. Okay, more delta, negative delta coming in. 15-minute. That's buyers trapping these sellers here. So buyers are back in control, but the point of control is still holding. So still quite moot. Push above here, then I'll add in another position. If we push above here on the tick chart, push above the point of control and those sellers. If we do, it's an important area to win for the buyers. 15-minute, got 1 minute, 15 seconds. Negative delta picking up again. Quite a lot of it comes in there. Right, now, I want to see these sellers get trapped. If those sellers get trapped, I'll take it as a long. Another one. Even though we're under the point of control, I'll just give that a go. Here we go. Let's have a look. There's a lot of sellers there. Yeah, okay. Added another long. Just with those sellers getting trapped there, that looks like the sellers could easily give up now. 15-minute clean break. Got sellers getting trapped here. Let's see how the general sentiment is. VIX pushing a little bit lower. Right, buyers coming in here strongly as well. So a lot of sets.
And folks, just to note, no text from Williams as expected. No initial comments from Williams or Lane.
Yeah, makes sense, Najam. Some more sellers trapped there. They're now hitting that standard deviation. Let's see how we go here. I know what you mean. It's quite high up here, isn't it? All right, let's have a little look at this now. And now back underneath that standard. So there's buyers trapping sellers up here. 5 minutes close coming up. So those 5-minute buyers have trapped sellers there. Where's the delta? Delta's now gone positive again. On balance volume, slightly higher, but that standard deviation providing a little bit of resistance. 15 minutes pushing up here. The buyers coming in, we're going to go to, that's the question. They get up above that standard deviation, that's what I want to see. Those 5-minute buyers have come and trapped these sellers here and here. Delta is now positive, so still favor longs. Still favouring the longs.
Folks, again, just mentioning at the top of the hour, we are expecting some remarks from Fed's Mazalem. He's a voter this year. Not clear whether there's going to be a text for this release, but there will be a Q&A. On the data front, we are due to get the Eurozone consumer confidence flash data for September. Consensus looks for a marginal improvement to negative 15.3 from negative 15.5.
Still going. Start bringing up. Let's bring up the position to 6,711 here. Just going to trail it underneath here with those buyers trapping these sellers. Let's see if we just get a bit of a continuation up. Maybe add one more if we get above those sellers. That might be doable. Got 2 minutes. Now we got that. Point of control from Friday is sitting up at the 6,721. So that feels like a obvious take profit. Let's see if we get buyers above this area. We do. So added another long in. And then let's see if we can take profit up at the 6,721. On balance volume pushing higher. Buyers have been building in here. Got some buyers pushing up. Let's see, can we get up above those highs again? That's great. So those sellers getting trapped. Can we just keep going? Let's see. Then decent target would be this 6,721 region. Also the potential of these highs up here. That's good. I'm keeping this very tight now. Nice one there, Jen. Well, I'm just holding a little bit longer up to those highs. And that's really where I want to get out, really. And I'm out myself. Very nice. Well played, guys. Good work. Nice little opportunity there. So let's see what we got now. So we're just up into those highs, you see. Yeah, in a bit now, Jen. Good trade. Up to those highs. Very nice. So let's see what we got. We've got that 15 minute. Played off the VWAP. Absolutely fine. We've now got delta is positive. We're moving. That 2-1 was kind of like your obvious target because of this area here. Right. So I don't mind going back up there if we get another opportunity. Let's just see where it will be from, what I'd want to look for. Right. So I've got buyers who trap sellers down here. So there's 2 entries, either standard deviation or point of control. Both are fine.